I promised you the Matthew story last time out. It's a really happy story that sounds really sad to begin with, so hang with the beginning and be ready for later. Um, I have two sons. One is Andrew Oman, and the other is Matthew Oman. Um, they're 2 years apart, roughly. Matthew, when he was 5 years old, and Andrew was 7, we suddenly discovered one day that he had a malignant cancerous brain tumor the size of a baseball under his 5-year-old skull. It was just such a shock. But I was given uh, heavenly reason to trust that all was going to go okay. And when I got to um, the hospital, we went in an ambulance to Children's Hospital of the King's Daughters. Now, the king, here's how stupid I was. I thought the king was Elvis or something. Apparently, it was Christ the King. And anyway, there was the best place to get children worked on in the area, and they're a wonderful place. CHKD, they call it here. Um, this German woman, Petra Gertner, took us into the room next to Matthew's and showed us the tumor, and it was just enormous in his poor little head. The size of a baseball. I mean, a baseball freak like me, the irony of that. And um, wow. So, anyway, she said, I will operate on him immediately, but I need to get a night's sleep first because I'm going to need it. She said, I will be on my pager. This is back in the pager days. And if I need to run in and do it right away, I will. But otherwise, I'm getting a good night's sleep because I'm going to need it. Well, the very next day, she comes in. We come in. Or we probably stayed there overnight. I forget. But here we are in the waiting room while Matthew's getting prepped for surgery. And I went over to his mother. She was sitting in a chair, and I squatted down and looked her square in the eye, and I said, either way this goes, we're going to get through this, I said to her. She looked at me like I was nuts, but I believed what I said. And anyway, the operation went 9 hours of microsurgery by this wonderful doctor. And when the 9 hours was over, she came out of the operating room, came into the waiting room where we were gathered, the whole family and friends and people supporting us and praying our brains out and souls out. And here she came right up to me. She looked me in the eye and shook my hand and said, he's cured. She said, he's cured. Now, that was a great relief, obviously. Now, again, his mother is a nurse, and she's prides herself that she knows a lot about medicinal stuff. And she was nervous that the cancer was going to come back, that he wasn't cured. Well, St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital in Memphis was doing an experiment on a certain kind of radiation treatment on kids that had the exact tumor that Matthew had had. And the doctor that was doing this experiment called us up because he saw that we had had that, surgery, and we had a three-way conversation, my wife and the doctor and me, and we decided to go ahead and let him do the experiments on Matthew. Well, that happened. It led to a total of 7 operations under the skull. It led to Matthew going deaf. He was not deaf before the radiation, but he was deaf after it. He had seizures. He had not had seizures before, and he started getting seizures. One of the 7 operations, though, was implanting a computer chip into his brain so that even though he was deaf, he could hear with his brain because of this computer chip that was hooked up to a device, and he could hear directly with his brain. So he hears. So, 1, it's a miracle he's alive. 2, it's a miracle he can hear with his device. Well, Matthew, going through all of this, was incredibly brave, and nothing threw him. And he came out of it. He's a genius. The tumor was on the left side of his brain, which is the math and science and all that kind of stuff, practical part of your brain. The other part of his brain is the right side is the creative and imaginative, and actually he's like my dream kid because that's totally where I'm at. And he's a genius. A number of things turned out to be things he can do extremely well, and one of them was jigsaw puzzles. He's like Bobby Fischer playing chess when he's doing a jigsaw puzzle. It's like he throws it out there and just starts putting it together. He doesn't even look at the picture, and bam, it's done. And you're like, what? How did you do that? And he's amazing. And well, what's happening now at age 22, he's 22, is he's got a 40-hour-a-week job that he works, and he loves it, and they love him, and he has a car. At the moment, he's not driving it because he had a seizure at work, but if there's 6 months between the seizures, he'll start driving again. But obviously, we don't want him to have a seizure while he's driving. So I don't know if that's going to happen or not, but we'll see. And he has a legit high school diploma, a regular high school diploma that he earned himself with a lot of help, and from excellent teachers, and his mother, and me to a degree. And the other thing, and he also went post-grad to Woodrow Wilson Rehabilitation Center, where he learned life skills to live all by himself, and work skills, so he can do the work that he's doing now. And the thing is, he was away from his mother and father for 9 months, all on his own, doing all that stuff, all by himself. So he's wonderful. So anyway, there's an upside to having a kid with a life-threatening illness. We got to go to Disney World for free. Disney World, Universal Studios, SeaWorld, because, and that was a blast. It was just way fun. They put you in the front of the line. When you should go to a show, the cast comes and meets him and everything, and they spoil him rotten, and we get spoiled along with him. It's way fun. I mean, Andrew was in on it too. And because St. Jude's is in Memphis, Tennessee, that's where Elvis is from, and we got to go to Graceland, which is Elvis Presley's house. And it's kind of interesting because, you know, you'd think it would be this palatial place, but it's not. It's just like a big house. And we got to go on his little airplanes, Lear jets or whatever they were. Lisa Marie is the name of one of them. He named it after his girl, or his girl who married Michael Jackson. Imagine what he was doing in his grave when that happened. But but anyway, you know, Matthew. And here's the cool. Well, for me, the cool thing is, you know, his mother and I had to. Well, that's a story I'll tell you at some point if I want to. But we're not together anymore. But we're an excellent parenting team together still. And Matthew chooses to live with me, and it's a blast. And we're having a good time together, and we're an excellent team as father and son. And Andrew's off on his own doing his thing, and he's got an excellent thing going too. And I can't be prouder of both my boys. So. Anyway, I wanted to tell you about Matthew, Double Miracle, and the miracles keep coming. Nothing's going to stop him. So, and I hope to get him on the show a couple of times, just if he wants to. But we'll see. Anyway, thanks for listening, and I'll talk to you again soon.